I know I'm not the best at what I do, and I don't really want to be. That's not my motivator. But to be thought of as someone who made a difference and that had a kindness about them, that fills me with joy.
Welcome to the Tales to Inspire podcast. Before we get started on this episode, I would like to invite you to our community so that you can hear more stories to inspire change within your life and positive change within the systems in which we live. All I want you to do is to click on the subscribe button. Your comments mean the world to us with anything that's resonated with you, and I absolutely love your support. I can't wait to go on this journey alongside you. Thank you so much for subscribing. Let's get into today's episode. Today, our bite-sized episode is with Jon Berry.
I'm Jon Berry, and this is my tale to inspire.
Jon, so we're going to go straight into the theme for this month, which is entrepreneurship. Now, I want to ask you, what does entrepreneurship mean to you?
To me, well, I have a slight problem with the word, actually. I think growing up, I found the word quite elitist, like quite singular.
Okay.
And I think I misjudged what the word meant. Actually, to me, I looked up the meaning of the word, and it went back to a 13th century French word, which means to do something, to action something. And actually that spoke more to me. Instead of this sort of inherent relationship with business and achieving something, just doing something is what motivates me. And I think that's a really important sort of correlation with the word in the modern day. It's like whether you do it on your own, as a group, or as part of a business that you're already in. I think basically if you've got an idea and you've got enough passion to pursue it, I think that's being an entrepreneur.
That's really interesting, because when I first started, before I started Tales to Inspire, I had 3 businesses that I tried to start / failed. And one of the lecturers at the university when I was in America said to me, "Oh, you're a real entrepreneur." And I was like, what the hell does that mean? It's like, what is this? He didn't go back to the 13th century though, mate. But essentially what I think he was saying is you like to do stuff and create things.
Exactly.
So on that side of things, do you think that people are naturally born like that? Or you were naturally born like that? Or do you think that's something that you learned?
I think it depends on who shapes your life and gives you that freedom to pursue a dream or an idea. I think if you brought up with parents, teachers or colleagues that listen and give you that chance to go after something, I think you're probably more likely to become an entrepreneur or to have that spirit of like, I really want to pursue this. But I think anyone can do it, in all honesty. I think if you've got an idea and you're passionate about it and you don't let it go, I think you're just going to, you're going to pursue it and you're going to be an entrepreneur, because that's all it means. And I love people that just refuse. They get told no all the time. That's not a good idea. Why are you taking that for? Just do it. Do a normal job. Yeah. And I love the people that are like, no, I think this is great. This is my passion. And they don't always do that as their day-to-day job. In the end, it can end up becoming a hobby, can't it? Or they can end up linking it to a charitable endeavour. But I think anyone can be an entrepreneur.
Are there any certain phrases that people have said to you, like get a normal job, get a proper job? Anything like that people have ever said to you personally, or kind of put you off, like in the culture that we live here in the UK? Yeah,
I think even those closest to me would be, definitely changing from being employed to self-employed and creating something. People would be like, are you crazy? Why would you take away that security? Or they'd see it as a risk, and they would try and put their sort of, their approach on it to you. To be honest, that made me want to do it more. And actually, I thought I've been part of big businesses that have folded without warning, and that also taught me that being part of something big and size didn't mean that you were secure. You could just be treated with very little respect, and one day you've got a job, one day you haven't. So for me, actually, I was thinking that, going out on my own or starting something myself didn't feel any more of a risk. It was just a change. I think perhaps too many people fear change because of the consequences, where actually, they don't need to. The consequences of not changing, to me, is probably more worrying.
I think being an entrepreneur is that there's so much unknown.
Yeah.
You're going into spaces where you just have no idea. People ask you, what's your 5-year plan? I mean, when I started this, what's your 5-year plan? I was like, I don't know my 5-day plan. I have no idea what I'm doing here. Like, I'm trying to figure it out, and you expect me to do a business plan that's based off 5 years and give you everything that you need to know. I'm like, that's just, first of all, so old-fashioned and so unrealistic. Like what is that? So I guess the fear of the unknown is just, you know, like...
I understand why people have that fear. But then you don't know what's going to happen every day in your life anyway, so you can't overplan. And I'm the first to admit that I wing it. I still wing it. I still do things that I don't truly know how to do. And you get through it, and there's a little bit of like, well, that went all right. Well, that didn't go well. I got caught out on that. And it's like, I think that's fine in life as well. I don't pretend to the people around me, particularly the younger team that join us. I don't pretend that I know everything, or I'm not scared about going to a meeting, or that I don't have to cram before a certain project because I need to sort of brush up on my skills. I generally don't trust the people that portray themselves of knowing everything all the time and not failing, because it's just rubbish, isn't it? You just have a go, and I've made tons and tons of mistakes in my business and in my life, which have made us a better business. So yeah, I wouldn't fear that, making a mistake or getting anything wrong, or like you say, not having a 5-year strategy. It's like, I think we did exactly the same. The bank probably asked us for our strategy, and we're like, yeah, hold on a minute. Yeah, here we go. Here's your strategy. And it's like, it was ideas, bits of it were lifted. You just like, we were like, we don't know what's going to happen in 5 years. I think we almost tempted to just write, hopefully we're still here. It's like, that's a good 5-year strategy. So yeah.
But what about, like, in that case, you're kind of having to be vulnerable. If you're telling your younger staff members that I'm winging it, I'm essentially, I don't know it all. As you're basically saying that that's a vulnerability that you're kind of having to show to others to be honest and truthful to them.
Yeah, because I think I guess my career started 25 years ago when there was less honesty. So I had to go to work every day in a suit and tie. There was silence in the office, apart from times of the day where you were probably encouraged to speak. It was very formal. And the whole idea then of being honest about something I didn't know, I wouldn't have entertained it. I would have gone home. I probably would have worried about it all day, then gone home and thought, I need to look that up, or I need to decide how I'm going to deal with that tomorrow. It just didn't encourage sort of open, honest conversations of way I'm working. And I think experiencing that was, to me, made me think, well, if I ever get to that position, I want to make it easy for the people all around me to learn and make mistakes and show that vulnerability. Because I think if you don't, you're not human. And I can't believe the people that run that business. They were excellent. They were excellent individuals, lovely people, technically brilliant, but somehow this was this false portrayal of we've got to be very formal, very serious. We've all got to be experts in what we do, and there was no room for that sort of error or that sense of slight blagging it. But which I think you need. For me, it's very clear. Like with our team, it's kind of like high challenge to everybody in the business, but loads of support. So high challenge, high support, where you make it feel safe for people to learn. You make it feel even safer for them to fail, and I think that creates a much better working environment.
Yeah, I mean, I get that so much. And then on that side of things, then the last question I kind of want to talk to you about is really the community and the culture we have in the UK, in the north of England, however you want to look at that. How do we, is it good for entrepreneurs? Is it a culture that's changed from what you saw 25 years ago? Or is it one that's very much still, we talk about modern times and everything looks great in 2024. Is it, there's just still a lot of area for improvement? Like, where do you find it?
I think it has changed. I think it's getting better, but I still don't think we're great at celebrating success, other people's success. I think for me, life and business is all about collaboration and celebration. I'm the first to shout out and celebrate my direct competitors when they deliver a great project, because I'm like, why wouldn't you? It's a great thing. But actually, a lot of sectors, a lot of industries, competition is taken to like the fiercest edge, where they won't acknowledge something that's been really, which has taken that industry forward. They just won't acknowledge it. But they'll focus on beating it, and I get that. That's kind of the sport analogy, perhaps. But even sports changed, so why isn't industry and business changing? So, I think it's better. From my experience working in the north compared to how I worked in the south, there's a better community. There's a much more honest business community I found in the north. So, however, I've found that, and it's been more honest. And actually, I've connected with other business leaders and entrepreneurs, and generally it's been conversations about health and well-being and like, are you okay, as well as recognition for what each other have done, and that's felt like a much healthier network to me than the sort of previous, like it's all about competition, it's all about who's achieved what. That just doesn't motivate me, to be honest. I think that's fairly outdated. I think that's got to keep changing.
I remember, just on this topic, Steve Jobs. I mean, when I was younger, everyone was raving on about how good Steve Jobs was. Like, look what he's created, like Apple, and then goes away from Apple and Pixar, and then comes back to Apple and all this kind of stuff. And then after he passed away, I read a lot about him, and I was like, people hated Steve Jobs. Yeah. Like, absolutely hated him as a human. He was incredibly innovative and creative, but the way he treated others was not a true entrepreneur, or not someone who, well, he got things done, but he didn't do it in the right way. So it was like, how do you do that but connect to your moral values? And I think that's just something that you're doing it, but connecting to your own moral values. Yeah. That I think you find.
That's important. Well, I would say I'd love to end my career or my life with the response where people thought I was a kind person rather than I was the best at what I did. I know I'm not the best at what I do. And I don't really want to be. That's not my motivator. But to be thought of as someone who made a difference and that had a kindness about them, that fills me with joy. I like that. I don't want to be a table-hitting business person that it's all about delivering their plan. I think it's just doesn't motivate me. And it is for some people, and you need a bit of that. I know you need some drive. And some parts of leadership need that sort of firm approach, but I think, like you say, you've got to get people to understand you as a person, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Well, it's like that, like hard power and soft power. It's like that soft power just really can connect with individuals.
Yeah. And if I walked into our office and started being that hard power, people would be like,
"I'm not doing it. What are you on about?
What the hell are you doing today?" So they'd see straight through it.
I love that.